Terrible timing. Let me just check that we're live. Evening, everyone. If you are here,
it's live. I can see the live at the top. This is the first time I use StreamYard. I just use Be Live, like Be.live. But
right, yeah, no, it is live.
Pretty much the same.
There we are.
Oh, I can see myself.
It's weird, isn't it? Right, evening, everyone. This is a random impromptu. Yeah, Sean says, "Look who it is."
All right, how's it going, Sean?
Yeah, this is a random impromptu live. Sean, massive action. Was that you commenting last night on my YouTube channel? I think it was. He kept saying massive action. I was like, who is this person? Hey, I don't know who that is. There's no StreamYard, but hello to whoever you are.
So I've got it up on Facebook. It's like Asim. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Omar. Omar's asking, is it live now? Yeah, it's live now.
Is this live now? Is this live now? Oh, can you see who they are, Luke? Can you see who's commenting?
I've just got it open on my on Facebook as well. It's like I literally just opened it on Facebook. I'm not looking at the StreamYard. I'm just looking on Facebook.
Loads of people on already. This is a good time to do it. So, evening all. This is a really impromptu live. We thought we'd just do a random live. Well, I thought I did, and then I dragged Luke on with me. So yeah, we literally haven't planned anything. Literally just going to have a random chat. Ask me or Luke, the Jedi of FBA, as many questions as you want. Ask him as many questions as you want. And in the meantime,
not too many.
Not too many, because it is.
Oh no, just don't want to use too much thinking Sunday evening.
Exactly, yeah. So, Luke, where are you joining us from? Obviously, I know, but let everyone else know.
Yeah, no, good point. Yeah, I'm in Gran Canaria at the moment. I've been here just over a month now, actually. Sort of just got an apartment for a month, and then decided on last Saturday, I'm going to stay here, and then moved into a new apartment on Sunday, and I'm here now until just before Christmas. Come back home for Christmas. Yeah, home is the UK.
Nice. And it's funny because me and Luke were just chatting offline. I think it was about. I need to look back. Well, I think it was about 9 or 10 months ago when I was really early in my journey in Amazon, and I came live on your group, didn't I? You interviewed me.
Yeah.
As like a real newbie. And then recently I got ill and we had a few issues with flights. I might have messed up, but I was just about to go over and see Luke and Thomas in Canary Islands about 2 weeks ago or something. I'm still trying to get over there, maybe in December or whatever. But yeah, it's just weird to see how time flies, you know, how far we've sort of both come, I suppose. Obviously, you're like,
yeah.
At a different level to me at the moment, and you know, you've been doing it for different time frames and stuff, but it's just interesting to see the growth and see where everyone's gone, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I love seeing I mean, you see a lot of names in the groups and stuff, and people posting, and some sort of stick around and make progress, some drift off, and some sort of stay at that. I sort of call it like the research phase, and it really frustrates me, those kind of people who, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'll get questions like I had a guy the other day asking me, oh, is this a bad time now? Should I wait until like after lockdown and stuff? And it just makes me pull my head out. It's like, I know, it's like this, he might prove me wrong, but I know he's just not going to get started. And it's like, well, yeah. So no, it is interesting, and yeah, it's good to sort of see you making progress there.
Absolutely.
I know as well, because you had a point where you weren't too sort of keen on it, and then you sort of kept going, and definitely smashing it now by the looks of it.
Yeah, well, mate, to be honest, it's not even. There's certainly people that are doing a lot bigger numbers than me. There's people that are doing smaller numbers than me. For me, it's just about the consistency and just like the long-term thing. I just, you know, I'm not worried about doing 100k in 1 month at the moment. I just want to make sure that I've got a regular income coming in, and that's certainly happening, which is nice. What was I going to say? Do you want to let everyone know, those that don't know who you are and like what you do and what sort of level you're at? Do you want to just let everyone know in my group?
Yeah, sure. I'll try and So just really quickly summarize. So yeah, I started August 2018 during the summer after my first year of university. So I was at university in Leeds, summer 2018. I was like, just wanted something to do because it's quite a long summer. Looked around and looked at sort of investment, those kind of things. Long story short, stumbled across online arbitrage, got started, made first sale end of that month, so pretty quickly. And then from there, it's just sort of taken off to the point where I dropped out of uni April 2019. Then went off to Australia for sort of a second time, went during my gap year as well for 6 months stint. So got back, well, sort of forced back with lockdown and COVID, which ended my travels a bit short, but that was fine. It actually really helped my business in terms of not so much like the demand side of thing, which did help, but more just being forced to work and really making the most of it. And then sort of used that to scale to the point where doing around 60, 70k sales per month.
That's huge.
Just doing online arbitrage as well, which I think surprises quite a lot of people, because a lot of people just kind of assume that I'm doing wholesale, and I think there's that real idea that you OA or RA is just a sort of like stepping stone in. But for me, like, yeah, I might be missing out on wholesale, but I don't really care, to be honest. I have a really nice setup now with my business. It's very much, I think Omar mentioned, am I still doing it? I mean, yeah, I have 5, tomorrow will be 6 VAs in my OA business, then using Prep Center and stuff. So it's pretty much all fully, I say fully, yes, I still spend probably 2-3 hours a week on it. But yeah, it's a really nice stage now. So yeah, that's just gradually built up, and I think this little lockdown period was probably the biggest growth spurt anyway.
60 to 70k a month. That's massive. That is honestly massive. And like, to sort of set the stage, I honestly, you inspire me the most in, I don't want anyone else to get offended, all the other big sellers, but you inspire me the most in online arbitrage, in terms of an online arbitrage seller. I don't know the details of every one that does OA, but I just know the sort of figures you do, and I know the sort of profit that you do as well, sort of roughly from what I've seen. And you're just at the level that really inspires me, and I think inspires most people, because yeah, so yeah, really
That's good. Yeah, I think you, as you mentioned, there's the profit as well, and I think that's why I try to be quite transparent with my sort of profit figures. Like, you'll see me posted around. A lot of people, I saw a guy today actually, he posted in my group and another group, and it did like $5 million in sales for the past 12 months or something, and someone asked him, well, like, what's your margin? And he got really sort of kicked up a fuss about it, and I don't really get it, because one, why are you going to chop your revenue figures if you not going to sort of go into it? And then secondly, I just like, the revenue figures only one part. It's pretty meaningless if you're not making money off the back of it. And this is like, as you know, I've got sort of training program in that, and that's the one thing I have sort of on calls with people, and it's a big part of the beginning. It's like looking at, I kind of use my figures that I have now to help people set goals and to break it, work backwards to look at where they want to be, like what kind of profit a month figure do they want, what does that equate to in sales, what does that equate to in purchasing, and how do you break that down and sort of get to that? And I think that's a big part, because otherwise, like, setting those goals can be really difficult. And yeah, I guess yeah, profit's a big part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's amazing. So let me have a look at the questions here.
Yeah, I mean, I've pulled up the names. So,
you people that don't sign up to StreamYard, bane of my life, you're. Right, let's have a look. Comments. Oh, look who it is. Sean, I can't believe your massive action. He was winding me right up on my YouTube live last night. He kept with massive action. And I thought it was Kev Blackburn. You know, Kev Blackburn does the action stuff. I was like, how you doing, Kev? And it was Sean all along. Yeah, Asim says, hey, Hayden and Luke. Omar, is this live now? Yeah, we are live now. We're rebels on a Sunday evening. Sean is just laughing. Omar says legends. Luke Cowell says hiya. It says see translation. Sean says, I'm fine, Luke. Doing roughly 2,000-ish a day now. Wow. Finally stopped being tight and paying someone to help me now.
Good stuff, Sean. Good stuff.
Simona says, evening, boys. Simon says, evening, lads. Luke Cowell, is it warm out there? Is it warm out there, Luke?
It's lovely. Today actually wasn't the warmest, but like this is pretty much the coldest it's been today, which was like 22, 23. So yeah, it's really nice. It doesn't get too hot. And like most days, it's sort of mid to late 20s, which is really nice.
Nice. Aaron says, hey, both. How's it going? Aaron and Lauren. Oh, yeah.
Hello, both of you.
Because it's on the StreamYard. Aaron, you know the extra moment in time that you said Aaron and Lauren, you could have signed up to StreamYard in that split second. It's my sister's boyfriend, so I'm allowed to talk to him like that.
Yeah, I didn't even put the connection together, and then Lauren mentioned one time.
Oh, didn't you? Yeah. He's pretty much family, so it's all right. We can get away with it. Umar says, Luke, since you left the UK, did you pause FBA or prepping is all outsourced?
Yes, that's what I mentioned before. Like it's all still carrying on. And I think that's the beauty of it for me. Is it's like I can do it from anywhere, and if I wanted to, like in reality, I could probably take a month off. The only thing that would scupper that was if like a VA left. I don't have an automatic sort of replacement process for like a purchasing or a sourcing VA, but that's for me is like true sort of business I want to get to, is where it's as hands off as possible, and then I can work on other things. So yeah, definitely still working in the background.
Are you in lockdown? Sean says.
No, mainland Spain is, and Canary Islands is part of Spain, even though it's off the northwest coast of Africa. And no, we're not in lockdown, which is nice. Got to wear masks around pretty much everywhere, but no, I was sat on the beach just before when I had a bit of a chill and had a bit of a chat with my fam. So that was nice.
Nice. Sean says, when do you think you will do your first 1 million in sales in a 12-month period?
So I think it was June that I did 60 or 70k a month. So I think June 2019 to June 2020, I'm hoping, because even if I do sort of 60, 70, if I can do like 70k a month on average, that's 840. But if I can then make up that 160 over like sort of this period around now, then I can maybe hit it. And then from there, like I've decided to bring in another sort of sourcing VA. So I think I wasn't going to, but then I decided that I will, because I've rejigged a few things. So I think I could hit it between sort of, so probably June 2019 and then 12 months on. So probably from 1st June to hopefully, I guess, 31st of May 2021. Did I say 2019? I meant 2020 this year.
Quick, Luke, do you do just OA? I mean, I know that you do OA primarily. Do you just do OA, or do you create your own listings for OA as well?
No, like purely traditional OA.
So just crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
buzz, isn't there? About I'll just say this quickly. There's a lot of buzz about.
Yeah, it's fine.
Loads of different methods, like, and I think that's interesting, really exciting. There's so much potential in every strategy, isn't there? I think, and it's just us. But you're a clear example of someone that's mastered one strategy and just stuck to it, and that's what I find really inspiring. But whenever things get hard, you can easily just say to yourself, "It must be the strategy," and then you can try something else, and then you can lose track, can't you? So, did you experience
that? Not too much, but I think that was because I've like really had that focus.
Yeah.
I think like I haven't tried to do wholesale. I haven't gone into like PL. I haven't created custom listings. I haven't created custom bundles. Yes, I've done things like Amazon flips, but I've tried to really keep it concentrated. And I've had a few moments where not like lost sort of focus, but more sort of externally, like when I was sort of at uni, Australia, these kind of places where I was sort of drinking a lot. And that was more just external, like then really not having to schedule to then go and work on the business and that. So it was more that kind of thing. And there's been a few sort of blips, which is, and this again, coming back to What was I going to say? I sort of say for me, I got started with purely from YouTube videos and Facebook groups and stuff. So I always say to people like, I'm not saying it's the wrong way to do it, but for me, I found that this left cracks in my sort of foundation. One of those things was like the most obvious one, which you don't need a YouTube video to sort of tell you, but I mixed sort of personal and business finance for a while. And that was purely because I tried to get a business bank account, but I had a few issues, just wanted to get going, ended up mixing personal. That then lasted a long time and caused a bunch of headache, but it's just things like that really. So for me, not having the sort of proven system to follow led to a few hiccups. And I suppose that's why I've got the training program, as you sort of know about. But I think more there, I've sort of taken that and I've actually benefited from it, because now, like with the sort of new projects I'm doing, I really always look for people who have sort of been there and done it. I'm happy to invest in that, because I know, like, I'd rather learn from people who have been there and done it, learn from their experience. And I always sort of say, like, you wouldn't jump in front of a moving vehicle, moving car to know that it hurts, right? There's other people who've been there and done that for you. I know it's a bit of a stupid analogy, but yeah, for me, I think because I've sort of tried to keep it focused and tried to really do one thing and do it well, it's really helped with that. But I think the biggest thing as well is having someone who you can speak to, or people that you can speak to. I think that really helps as well. I've had a few people in that space, not just one, but that really helps. Yeah, quite a long answer to the question, but yeah,
no,
it's an important one.
No, it's really inspiring. Yeah. Yeah, Sean says some items are over 100% ROI, mostly 0% VAT products. Some are only 30%. So some I lose money clearing out dead stock, but my expenses are very low and I'm still growing monthly. Yeah, it sounds like you've sorted it, Sean, to be honest. Sounds like you're absolutely killing it.
Is that the latest? I think there are a few comments above. I don't know if you can see it on.
Yeah. No, it just sort
of. Okay, yeah.
Let's have a look. Let me have a look. I've literally got hundreds of eBay right in front of me. Yeah, they're actually selling quite nicely. Let's have a look. There we are. I keep selling every time I. Oh yeah, there we go. So I've got a few more sales since we've been on the call on the old eBay. Nice. So my eBay is popping off at the moment. We're selling all these.
Can't say I do much on eBay.
Yeah, what do you do with all your items that are like unfulfillable and stuff? Do you get them sent to the prep center and just dispose?
Yeah, prep center manage it and they'll assess it and see if it can be sent back in as new. If not, they work with them to try and create like a used offer in Amazon. I've got a pile of stuff that probably then will either be listed on eBay, or there's third parties that can sort of do it for you, and you barely get much, but it's like liquidation. So looking at that, and then also just putting together like a pile of stuff, and eventually one day I'll go visit my prep center and fill up my car and get my brother to take it to like and do a car boot or something like that. The one thing I won't be doing is listing them on eBay and fulfilling them myself, that's for sure. And that's just me. That's just me personally. I think a big thing I look at is really valuing the time, and not so much on, not even saying like, oh, I need to earn millions of pounds per hour. Like, I'm not even saying like £100 per hour. I don't value it like that. For me, I try and look at it more from trying to do things that are going to benefit me in the long run. So like learning and implementations of things and growing my skill set and like building. So like now I've got like sort of personal brand and a training program and these kind of things that I'm working on, and it's building the value in that, which is long term. And for me, I don't really see the sort of value in like putting an item on eBay and getting it, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying that's the solution for everyone. It's just for me now that I've sort of got the money in the background. It's like for me now, it's like the time is more important, I suppose. And that's just my sort of philosophy about it.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it probably depends what sort of stage you're at as well.
Yeah, exactly.
How valuable it is at different stages, I suppose. But it's certainly not a long-term strategy. But it's also quite nice because it's sort of like I'll probably make £400 or £500 additional in my pocket just from this, in the next couple of weeks, just from getting rid of this. So at the stage I'm at, I suppose that's much more valuable to me than it would be to you. And it's just, I suppose it's just different levels, isn't it?
I think it is, and it's even, and it's easy for me to say now. It's like but that's the kind of thing that I look at a lot of it, and I'm trying to learn from it. And I would even say it's like, well, even if you could get half of that, but you're not doing anything, you're just getting a third party to do it, it's probably worth it for you. From my point of view. And I don't know, like there is like cash and trade time off, and I'm fortunate in the way that I've got like next to no fixed expenses. Like it's all sort of disposable income really. And so like I guess, yeah, I don't have mortgages or these kind of things or dependents on me, but I don't know, like I guess for me it's all, even now, like I'm trying to build a team. Like there's a couple of people here that I'm trying to hire full time in the UK, which is not cheap. And like I'm trying to get an intern as well. So these kind of things I know, like I'm not going to see it in the short run, but it's very much like the long term sort of growth for me. And it's a lot of time in the background that people don't see. But and look, I'm not saying it will be successful, but I just know that in 2 years time from now, if it is, people will look at that and be like, they'll see that success, but they don't see all the stuff in the background. And I did a post recently, which is similar to that. And it's I think that's the thing as well. Not even just that, but also the perceived success. So it's like social media thing when you look at, and this isn't like a new thing. This is not just businesses in general. When you look at people and like, oh yeah, it's so awesome and everything, but there's really, it's like everyone's got stuff going on, and it's that just because someone's posing for something and then there might be pop noodles in the background or something, like it's really interesting. And that's why it comes back to everyone's got their own situation, and it's about making the most of that personal situation. And I know, like you said, I think you said you start listening to him now, but guy I always recommend is Steve Bartlett's podcast, Diary of a CEO. I think it's really good, really, really good. I pretty much listen to it on like a daily basis.
Yeah. Anyone that hasn't listened to that, it's called Diary of a CEO. Yeah, as Luke said, Stephen Bartlett. He owns like, what is it, a £200 million company, something ridiculous. He's just, yeah, he's quite. It's all personal development stuff, isn't it? It's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good stuff. Right, let's go through these comments. Evening guy. So I'm not sure which one that is. Salvador guy.
Just one of us.
Yeah. Let's pretend it's me. What you all been up to? Just doing a live at the moment, Salvatore. Janet Barnes says, what is your net profit margin, Luke? Obviously, it's up to you if you want to discuss that, Luke.
No, it's fine. As I sort of mentioned, I'm happy to, and it does vary a bit. So it tends to fluctuate around the sort of 9 to 10% mark over the past sort of 60 days, excluding like the last sort of week. It was probably more like 8%, but now that's gone up and it's probably just about above 10%. I keep saying probably because the thing is, it is very hard to know exactly, and I think a lot of people don't really know. And I've got a lot of fixed expenses, and so if I do like 10k gross profit, I might have like 2.5, 3k in fixed expenses. So my gross margin might be like 15%, but my net margin isn't going to move. Say like my gross margin 15% on 5k, I might only make like 5% net margin. Whereas if my gross margin 15% on 10k gross profit, I might be more like 12, 13% net margin, because those fixed costs are a smaller chunk of those sales. And yeah, so to give you a bit of an idea, I did have 5, and I've got 6 full-time days in the business. I outsource all my prep. And for me, a big thing is really, I'm more than happy to trade off a decent chunk of profit for automation. And as I mentioned, so hopefully that helps. I'm happy to share that because it does help with planning. But I think it really does depend on your situation. I think a realistic, for me anyway, in my business is probably between that sort of 8 to 10% mark. At least that's what I found. And then my sort of purchase to sales ratio is around 1 to 2. So for every £1 I spend generates about £2 in sales. And the reason why I just go into that detail is because it should help you to plan and sort of know what to kind of expect. But it will depend on what kind of things you're doing. I don't know if you'll find anything sort of similar, Hayden. I know you're a bit of a slight different stage, but I know you start using a prep center now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm literally just in the beginning stages with my prep center.
Okay.
and I'm just trying to sort of judge it for the next month or two. And it's my massive, as you know, it's a big step outsourcing prep. Because it's probably going to be an additional. I don't know. Obviously, I've sort of upped things now. I do much more than I used to do in terms of turnover, but it's probably going to be like, I don't know, £800,000 a month prep fee. So I've just got to check that 1 to 2 months just to sort of see how it is, and then I'm going to start introducing a VA next. I don't want to introduce one and then bite myself. You know what I mean? And then it doesn't work out, because I've seen a few people in the communities that have sort of expanded too soon. So it's just it's quite tricky. I find it like I just want to be careful that I don't sort of go back on myself, basically. So.
I would argue that I see in general people expand too slowly, and the reason why I mean is it depends what kind of expansion, because I'm not saying go and take out a 50k loan and dump it into stock, but there's different ways of doing it. And so Aaron and or Lauren asked the question there about VAs, and the one thing I definitely would have done differently is get an admin VA earlier on. I would have worked harder with the sourcing VA to prepare them for purchasing. But it really depends, and this is what I always say, like, depends where you want to get to and what your sort of goals are, and it always depends on your personal sort of situation. So I guess what I mean by that is, if say you had similar goals to me and you want to really outsource everything and you want to have geographical sort of independence, which not everyone does, then it's sort of, well, you're going to need to get yourself to the stage where you're going to need to use prep centers. Like, why not do that now? And this is why it goes back to the personal situation. It's tricky because some people might have, like, say they've been made redundant, they might have tons of time, but they might not have a lot of cash, and so it could be better off for them to do the prep and sort of scale. But if you've kind of got the cash there, it makes sense to go and jump into a prep center for me if that's your long-term goal. And same as if you want a purchasing VA, the sooner you can get that sourcing VA and start training them, the quicker it's going to get to purchasing VA. And for me, that's the thing that takes the longest. Like, you can flick a light bulb on and you're using a prep center, but to get a purchasing VA, I think that's a lot tougher. And for me, it took quite a lot of time to train my sourcing VA to get to the stage where I was happy that they could start purchasing. So yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing is really figure out where you want to kind of get to in, like, the long term or like the medium to long term. What does the business look like there? And it comes back to breaking that down, and then looking at, like, how many VAs do you need, and starting to do that. And that's why I'd say I don't think people do it quickly, because yes, in the short term, maybe you're not going to make as much, but I sort of practice this in my business to an extent, because I was doing sort of 20k for quite a while, but I spent a lot of time working with an admin VA, a lot of time working with my purchasing manager or relative, because I was in Australia sort of at this time, and then wasn't really too focused on, like, the short term. But then all of a sudden, like, that really started to kick off and got to the point where it then, like, sort of shot to sort of 60k and a lot less time. Like, I know sort of COVID had a bit of an impact there, but it really did shoot up when my purchasing manager started doing purchasing. You could spend a lot more time on it, and suddenly I had a lot less to do, because it got to the stage where I spent like 3 or 4 hours purchasing every day. I spend like an hour or two on admin tasks, and you got to look at, like, don't just sort of say, I want to make X amount of money and I spent Y hours in it, because you've got to look at, okay, well, what does that look like? Like, what sort of system do you need to get that? And then what kind of tasks you're going to be doing? Because if you say, I want to work 4 hours a week, but I'm still going to be doing purchasing, well, no, you're not. You're going to be working longer than that. So it's a tough one, because it is very personal. But yeah, that's what I'd sort of say there.
That makes sense. So what do you think about these guys that say, like, I know a couple of quite big sellers, no names, but they say, like, that they could earn, like, more of a lump, like 50, 60k they've saved in prep fees, and they've prepped it all themselves in a year.
Yeah, well, for me, it's just like, well,
the argument, isn't it? Because obviously that is a lot of money, but at the same time, it's your life gone, isn't it? On prep, it's literally, depends how much you value your time, I suppose.
Well, I want to do a video on prep, because I made some notes on my phone, so I'll pull those up. But
yeah,
I kind of know it, but it's more, like, again, it comes back to personal preference because not everyone's the same. So it's not going to be the same thing for everyone. And like I sort of mentioned there already, if you've got a ton of time and money's more the constraint, well, you might think, well, okay, I'm going to prep. But for me, it's not just the money. Firstly, it's like the longer term value in terms of if you're spending time sourcing. I don't really mind that because you can give that to sort of a VA. You can train a VA to do it, and you can get, if you're spending time purchasing, well, then you're transferring that knowledge onto a VA to do it. Prep, you don't need to know how to prep to get a prep center to do it, in my mind. So I can't justify it in that, and that's why I don't really like it. But I mean, I think there's a few things. So like, one, it's economies of scale. Prep centers just are going to be able to do it more efficiently and cheaper. Secondly, there's like, well, what kind of cash, if you're going to look at it from a linear point of view, and if you can earn, say, if you've got a job that you're earning £20 an hour, which equates to around 3.5k a month, I think. If you've got a job like that and then you're going and doing prep, which is probably more like a £8-10 an hour job, sort of, I guess, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me. And also, it's not just that, it's the fact that you're having deliveries to you. So you've got to be there for like deliveries, and okay, you put systems for that. It's the whole, like, for me, you just moving heavy stuff around. Like, for me, sometimes I had to saw back from it. For me, it was just the inconvenience. Like, prep was frustrating. There's so many things why I just didn't like prep. And it's not just about the sort of money. It's then I could spend time on other things that I know are going to help me more in the long run. So it also depends like what you're doing, because if you've got 500 of one item that you can spend 2 hours prepping, okay, that makes more sense to do it. But me, I don't buy as much of one unit. I've got probably 400, 450 active SKUs at the moment, and I buy less of each one. And so say I buy 5 or 10 bundles, and it's you got to prep that, and then there's another 10 different bundles, all with 5 to 10 items each. It's just not going to be worth it. Like, that's probably going to, like, 200 units of that might cost the same as 500 units of another thing, but those bundles are probably going to take a lot longer to prep, and it'll be a lot more annoying. So there's so many different variables, but I think overall, like, if you want to get to the stage where you're not prepping, which I think most people would do, I would just say, like, outsource it ASAP and start to focus on other things in your business and other areas, and look at that long-term value that you're generating from the task you're doing.
Yeah, I sort of got forced. I sort of got forced to literally give up the prep myself, and I don't even think I'm exaggerating when I say that. It was making me like depressed, and it was not literally depressed. I'm not saying that. It was making me feel really like low and stuff, and it was really limiting the growth that I was able to put into the business. So like, my sales have stayed the same since I've given up the prep, but now I'm setting up for the future, as you say. I'm looking into getting a sourcing VA and stuff, and like, not only that, I'm looking at different strategies potentially. I've got that the brand deal with, like, this supplier that I've got and stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I've just had the time. I'm still looking into that. I don't know how big that's going to be, but it's just given me the time to look into more things and actually, like, just take a step back and just sort of get more on track to, as you say, like, the long-term goals. So yeah, I think that's what giving up prep did for me. And to me, you can't really put a price on that.
Exactly.
I would have probably rather had a part-time job than do the prep. I hated it that much.
Yeah, exactly. Like, some people say, and it's like, oh, they don't mind the sort of actual prep. And I totally agree, in terms of, if you're sat there and you've got 500 units, I can do monotonous tasks, stick music on or whatever, and it's fine. But it's the whole sort of management around the shipment and everything. And I totally agree. Like, I would hate having to do the prep. And so for me, it's just like, I don't like it. But it's a tough one, and it's really personal. And some people get very heated opinions on it. And ultimately, like, it doesn't, whatever you want to do in your business, it doesn't affect me. So that's fine. I can just share my sort of thoughts and try and personalize it to people as much as possible. But at the end of the day, if people want to prep themselves, go for it. It's fine. And not everyone wants to. That's the thing as well. Not everyone wants to have a large business. Some people are just happy ticking away with a sort of side income, or even just replacing their income with the job, and they might be happy doing it. That's fine. But for me, as you kind of said as well, it's not just the monetary thing as prep. Like, it's just not so fun.
Yeah, Natalie's just made me laugh. Did you guys mean to match beards?
Yeah, this isn't intentional. This is just my natural. This would be I shaved on Halloween. So for me, like I haven't shaved like mustache or anything. This is just my lack of any sort of.
It's the biggest compliment I've ever had. I've never had a beard compliment in my life. I just not a compliment, just a beard sort of thing. I've got eczema all around my face here and all over, literally here, and like my eyebrows and stuff. So I can't actually grow. Someone get the violin out, but I can't actually grow hair here, and it's like it really upsets me. So I'm so glad. I'm so proud of my little thing here, and I'm glad that someone spotted it. So thanks, Natalie. Right, let me read the comments. Let's have a look. Find out where I was. Oh yes. Have a look. Oh, it gets so confusing when there's so many of them.
I think it was the next. I think we answered Janet's question on profit margin. Then Sean mentioned it wasn't really a question. It was more his observation, saying you can make £300-500 a day gross profit doing 2k sales a day after VAT. Being VAT registered slows you down, but you can still win. Too right, Sean. You can still win with that.
eBay's perfect. Yeah, here we are, isn't it? Sean's comment about eBay. eBay is perfect. Is that where we are?
No, I think the next one was Omar. He said, "Do you have staff prepping for you in your own unit, or when you buy OA, do you ship? In logistics, you have the same area stocking." Yeah, I just ship it to a prep center. For me, I think there's probably a point where it might make sense to do it in house. But even then, like again, it's not just the cost there. You've got to consider, well, if you're hiring staff, there's more. I don't know what the term is, but it's like in business, it's having as few points of failure as possible. Is that, I don't know what the term is. Someone might say it there. And it's like in not just in business, but you're trying to reduce the points of failure. And if you're having staff, like say you have one person prepping for you, you're so reliant on that one person, they can get sick, they can quit, and it's just unnecessary stress. It's still, you're reliant. If you're using a prep center, they've got those economies of scale, they've got those systems in place and everything. So it might be more cost effective for me to have my own unit and get someone doing that, but I've got no intention to do that.
Literally, yeah. I literally think, just when I had my unit that I just gave up about a month ago, I was this close to getting a bigger unit or getting a warehouse and actually starting a prep service and scaling my business. I'm so glad I didn't do it. Nothing wrong with it at all, obviously, if that's what you want to do. But for me, it's about freedom at the moment for the next couple of years at least. And I just thought to myself, I think it was my dad that helped me come to the realization. He just said, if you want freedom, that is the worst thing that you can do.
Yeah.
Financially, I may have been definitely better off short term, but no, it's just not. Yeah, it wasn't the right move, I don't think. For me,
well, I think that's the thing. Yeah, it's not all about like a £1, not £1, like not the same as £1. It's definitely not, and I don't mean that from like a ethical or moral point of view as weird, because I saw some like stoicism quote about it. What I just mean is that like it's definitely different ways to earn it. You could even go to 4-hour work week in terms of how much you're earning effectively per hour. But it's that, as you kind of said there, it's like, well, what's the cost of that for you to then go and have that warehouse and have those staff and the stress and everything around there? So yeah, it's definitely more than just the pure monetary consideration, and it's time. And I think that's what a lot of people don't consider is their own time and the decision fatigue and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a learning process I'm also going through at the moment. But I do think you've got to come to a realization on your own. There's so many people that can tell you over and over again that you need to value your own time, isn't it? But for me, it just took a long time for that to sink in. And there is still many things that I do that I shouldn't be doing. Absolutely. And I'll admit that. But I think it is just, it just takes time to realize that, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess there are things you can do, but yeah, I think you're right. It's like when people say, money won't make you happy. And it's, well, pretty much everyone who says that, it says, yeah, they used to chase the money and then they got to the point, and it's like, well, it's that like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like everyone, I say everyone, that's not true, but a lot of people will be fueled to a certain extent by money up to a point where it's like the first 1,000 is not the same as the thousands 1,000. You know what I mean? Like it has that. What's the opposite of an exponential? Like, I don't know. but yeah, where it's sort of diminishing returns sort of thing. And so yeah, I think it's that you can. I think with time, the one sort of thing I look at is even just reviewing where I'm spending my time, I guess, and really trying to question why I'm doing what I'm doing, and if there's someone else that I could get to do it, and what's the long term value of it. But yeah, that's for me anyway.
Yeah, because it can be so daunting thinking about getting loads of VAs. No, I know that I've definitely been there, because I don't know,
Okay.
I had like 4 VAs leave on me, and
Right. Okay.
nothing to do with me. It could have been. I was really inexperienced. It was at the beginning, but I don't know. Yeah, I do find it. I'll be completely honest. I do find it a little bit daunting getting another one. I will definitely get one soon, but I just find it a little bit just sort of trusting someone again, because I feel like I've had 4 really bad exes within the Amazon world. I can't trust. Anyway, let's move on. Sean, oh, sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was just looking at the next one, but no, it looks like you got it lined up.
Yeah,
I think it's around Facebook shop.
Yeah, that's it.
Facebook. I mean, I won't.
Oh, Simon said, what prep center do you guys use? What do you use?
I use Midlands Fulfillment.
Nice. I honestly can't remember the name of my prep center. I mean, it's called FBA Fast Prep FBA, I think is the name of it.
Yeah, I've got a couple I'm testing as well.
The name of it, I can't remember.
Yeah, I've actually got one that I can't remember either. I'm like testing.
There's so many names of prep centers, isn't there? It's like they're all really similar. And,
it's like fast prep, and
all that. Yeah. I almost said everyone's names then. I better not. Sean said, will you try Facebook Shop once Facebook actually get on with it? I will, because it's another income stream to create. Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, I don't know if they have a fulfillment option, then maybe, but otherwise, no, I don't think so. Just for me, like, again, it comes back to the whole time, and for me, it's about, and I don't know if this is going to sound like come across the wrong way, but I know now that I can get a pretty decent return on my time monetary wise, but I've got to look at like, where do I want to get that return? So I guess one example would be with like sort of one-to-one coaching. Like, I haven't had a one-to-one coaching thing for probably about a month now, because I wouldn't say I like trying dissuade people in a way by I'll get to the point where if I start getting a few clients, I'll push my price up. And that's not, I mean, that sounds obvious in a way, but at the same time, I don't want to have more than like 1 to 2 one-to-one coaching calls per week, because it's that super linear return on time.
Yeah.
And for me, I look at it, or I know in like, okay, if I do something now for an hour, like if I'm doing research on, say, like I'm doing at the moment, Facebook ads, I know that even though I'm actually probably going to hire someone for it, but I want to understand the strategy so I can actually understand the numbers and look at it and make sure they understand what they're doing. I know that hour is probably going to have a bigger return in the long run, if that makes sense. So for me, it's like, and again, it's difficult because I'm fortunate now that I've got my Amazon business running for a while, and it's been generating pretty nice profits. So I sort of have that sort of in reserve. So now I'm quite picky with how I spend my time, because I try and avoid things where my time isn't leveraged. So I'm trying to do things that, like, I'm putting together systems that are going to sort of leverage my time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I completely get it. Yeah, it's just making the most of it, isn't it? Really, it's things that are going to compound your time rather than just doing something that's a one-off time, if that makes sense. So, you know what I mean? Yeah. For example, you've spent time in your course, which can be sold to multiple people over a long period of time, rather than coaching one person that's just helping one person at that one time, isn't it? For that.
Yeah, and I think it's even an interesting one there as well, because for me, it's like a lot of people, I say a lot of people, but people I have spoken to who sometimes want coaching, they're like right at the start of their journey, and I don't recommend coaching at that point, because the thing is, coaching is great when it can become personalized, when you need it to become personalized. And I've done both. Like, I've used courses and I've done coaching, and coaching's great for implementation. So you have those foundations from like a course or from resources or whatever you want, but it's about taking that and then implementing it, and then having those specific things that are unique to you, and then taking that and having the coach there. That's where I think you get value from it. I don't see any point really in jumping in for like a coaching session when you go, okay, how do I manual source? Because it's the fundamentals you need to learn from whatever it is, free resources or courses or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of my logic for it anyway.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I didn't do sort of mentoring like one-to-one. I think I did some mentoring with Luke Dugan actually. It was about 5 months in, but that was at the stage where I was like,
yeah, it makes sense then.
I was sort of fed up enough of not getting the results that I wanted, so I needed to scale it, and that was right. It wasn't like but it's funny because I did a YouTube video recently, just like how to start if you don't want to spend money on a course, basically. If obviously if you for a course, I think it was just me giving recommendations for groups and things like that for me which I think you should look at. Some people haven't got the money for a course, so I like, you know what I mean. Obviously, if you've got the money for a course, it's probably best to just go with someone that is good, that is good, that's obviously proven. But if not, I do think it's 100% possible. It's just going to take probably a little bit longer. And that's
for sure.
Aaron said, what stage would you hire your first VA? Also, Hayden, are you looking at VAs again? So I'll just answer my bit quickly. So it's basically, for me, I'm going to be hiring one soon. To be honest, my focus has been a little bit all over the place. I've been a little bit overwhelmed with opportunity, like wholesale brand deals here, like bundles, like OA, everything. And it's my fault that I've let myself get confused. I've let myself get overwhelmed, so I need to sort that out. And to answer that question, that I've had a realization while saying this, is probably an admin VA that I need, because I can't think straight because I'm too busy running the business. So you'll probably agree with that, Luke, I suppose.
I think I think I already touched on it, so I'll try and sort of keep it short and sweet. I know I can waffle on easy. I was trying to stick to the point and keep it short and sweet. So I think, I'd get an admin VA very soon. What I would do is look at, on a weekly basis, create a spreadsheet from whatever time you wake up until you go to sleep. And you don't have to fill in everything like personal, but every 15 minutes, just record sort of what you're doing. At the end of the week, have a look back through that and see where you're spending your time. And as soon as you're spending 10 to 15 hours on admin tasks, I'd get an admin VA. Very easy to hire, the easiest, because sourcing is very specialized. Admin VA, they can work with you. You get a real feel for it, give you a bit of experience with the hiring, managing, all that kind of stuff, get them to create standard operating procedures, that kind of thing. But I know Aaron, Lauren, you guys definitely should be, I think, and you, Hayden, I'd recommend just like tomorrow putting a job ad up on onlinejobs.ph for an admin VA and going and hiring. I know it's a bit more to it than that, but you can do your research, and ultimately you can use a service for it if you want. But it's a huge return on admin VA, which I've done it sooner. And I'd say that's probably the first to hire.
You think the admin one's the
first? I'd say first. Yeah.
It's funny, some people say purchasing VA, but I'm good for deals. I actually don't need any more deals. I just need to get out my own head in this business. So it's, I think you're right.
Well, I think the thing is, like, you can find deal services and you can, I've never really mastered sourcing. I don't think you need to master sourcing, but you do need to master purchasing, because you can have deals coming in from like deal sheets or whatever. You can find good deal services, but you've got to be able to analyze them. You've got to be able to make purchasing decisions. So you can get away with deal services and stuff for a good amount of time, I think. I'm not saying this is optimal, but I think you can. But an admin VA is just going to make sense to me to get one pretty quickly, get it off the bat, start saving time, start working with them, really refine your purchasing skills. Because you've got to be able to, if you get a sourcing VA, you need to be able to feed back to them on the deals and go like, yes, this is good, this is why, this isn't, blah, blah, blah. And then slowly build that up to a purchasing VA. So I honestly say, like, I would try, but sourcing VA comes back a lot to capital, whereas admin VA is not super important, because with a sourcing VA, you've got to have the cash to be able to buy their deals. And so this is a whole nother large discussion. So I'll sort of leave it there, but I'd say admin VA very quickly, and sourcing VA once you have confidence in your purchasing ability, not so much sourcing, but purchasing ability, and you've got the capital to be able to buy their deals.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm going to get an admin VA. Done. I'm out. Oh. I'm gone.
What were you drinking?
I was drinking a lime cordial just with water. Oh, Luke, I'm 65 days off the alcohol now.
Nice, about 20 more than me, I think.
I think it's 65. It's about. It was the 5th. When was it? Oh, it was the 5th of when was it? September, October, November. I think it was the 5th of.
Would have been September.
Yeah, 5th of
September. Mine was like the 18th or 19th of September, around there.
How do you feel?
Good. I think coming over here was a big thing for me. And I don't even know if it was so much coming over here. It was just, when I say here, Gran Canaria, it was just like, for me, I had this mindset where I was like, I am going to not, well, I already sort of stopped drinking, but I was like, no caffeine, no sort of drinking, but more so just like every weekday getting up at 6 a.m, weekend 7 a.m. And I haven't followed it religiously, but I haven't like had any stupid days. Like I haven't gone and had like a lie until 10, 11 a.m. I haven't got on the piss. Like, and some people might think, oh, that's super boring. But for me, I love having this routine, like where I sort of 6, half 6, smash out a day's work, eating healthily, go to the gym sort of 4 days a week. And then just, feeling really good, going and doing some sort of social stuff, meeting other people, traveling, going on a few dates and stuff, like chatting to my family on calls. And for me, it's really trying to find the balance in life in all sort of different areas, like the sort of seven, 8 areas that I've sort of highlighted to work on. And I'm trying to find the balance between them. And it's really, really hard. And you need a lot of time in the day. And I still think I'm doing too much on the business front. But again, I'm waffling on. But yeah, alcohol free. It's good. Feeling good. What about you?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, feeling good. I'm also, I think I'm quite similar in the personal development respect. It is really important to me. My life is 100% obsessed by the business at the moment, 100%, and like the whole Amazon world. And obviously I've got the Facebook group, and like, obviously, as you know, it does actually take quite a lot of time up if you want it to be a good group and stuff. Yeah. So, I'm big. But I also think that it's important to just sort of not stress about it too much sometimes, and just allow yourself to spend that time of maybe spending too much time on a certain area, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of just learning as I go and sort of like getting there. I haven't been very well recently, so it sort of threw me off the fitness and the getting and stuff. But
yeah, it's tough.
Getting back onto it, to me, it's just a constant learning thing. Like I'm 10 times better than I was a year ago in so many areas of life, and that's all that matters to me. Just improving all the time. Let's have a look. I don't have a clue on net profit. I estimate and keep going. Can you see who that is? I can't see. I'm on StreamYard.
It was Omar who said that.
Oh, okay. I don't have a clue on net profit. I estimate and keep going. Okay, cool. Sean says, if your prep fees keep going up as you grow, which they do, won't you rent out a warehouse unit, pay someone? You've answered that, haven't you?
And I think sort of, and then Natalie mentioned it as well. I think it's the idea that, and Natalie said it there, and I think Al Carter did like a financial analysis. A lot of people sort of start self-prep, then use prep center. Then Natalie mentioned some go then back to self-prep, then back to prep center. But I think, for me, I see like a lot of people start self-prep, go to prep center, and as Natalie said there, like it gets to a point where it's probably more economical to then sort of bring it back in-house when you get to a stage. But I don't know. For me, I'm not sure what the five figures, how many is that? 10K? Yeah, 10K. So I don't know, because I don't think I'll hit 5-figure prep. For me, if I'm not far off the sort of, depend, 7 figures plus. So that's obviously if it gets to the 5-figure stage. I agree. It probably then would be worth looking at bringing it back in house. I'm not too sure. I suppose it depends on what relationship you have with the prep center as well. But then it starts to get interesting, because then it's like, okay, you can get those economies of scale. You can afford to have those systems in place. It starts to make sense maybe to then do that. But yeah, I think for me, it's not even something I'd consider for a while, and not even just because sort of traveling, as Natalie mentioned there, the digital nomads want to travel, just purely from having more areas that the business is susceptible to, and that having to rely on the staff. So that's why I'm a big representative person. And even if I looked and did a financial analysis and said, okay, I'm going to spend, say for argument's sake, 5.5k per month at a prep center, and it would cost me 3.5k to do it in house, I'd probably still go for a prep center, to be honest, because I know it's a huge time and mental strain to have those staff and premises and everything that goes along with it.
I think you've got to be ready for it, haven't you? And I'm not. I would look into it in the future, in maybe a couple of years. Bringing it in house and doing it myself and making possibly a lot of money from doing that. But I don't know. I think there could be easier ways to make the same money in different areas. But I'm not sure. I suppose it just depends what you want, isn't it? Luke Cowell says, when are we having a networking event in the Canaries, lads? I was meant to be there now, just so you all know, but I got ill, and also lockdown did get in the way a bit. But I booked my accommodation and everything to go and see Luke and Thomas. Thomas Parkinson is with Luke as well. Are you in the same place together? Are you staying together?
No, we were for a month, and then we've got separate apartments now.
Yeah. I suppose you got sick of each other all the time.
Not so much that. It was more just I hadn't decided what I was doing yet. I won't go into too much details, but basically, like potential sort of opportunity in Ireland. So I'm looking at probably February now, where I'll go over to Ireland and spend a month there working with someone. And then also about over a year ago now, I had a tooth knocked out and the other one's fractured, and they still need to be removed. Wow. And so I wasn't sure if I need to come back to the UK, but I can't even get through to the dentist. So I was just like, I'll just stay on. So I literally only booked my apartment last Saturday and I had to move out the day after. So yeah, I hadn't decided, and Thomas had already sorted himself out a while back. So he just went and got an apartment. But he's only like 10-15 minute walk from me.
Oh, mental. Yeah. That's
literally we'll go to the gym together, yeah.
Yeah, nice. When I booked my place, it was like 15-minute walk from you.
Yeah, okay.
Can't remember which. It was literally, you're on one side of the beach, mine was on the map right on the other side, so right through the middle of town. But yeah, you'll probably know where that is. Yeah, Janet says, cheers, Luke. Charles Ross says, great guy. Simona says, using PrepCenter helped me to scale. I was scared first because of cost, but I wouldn't be able to send so much to myself. That was the same issue I had, I think. I just felt capped. Even though I wasn't capped, I was capped because there was no way I was going to do that much prep. And it sounds like Simona thinks the same as well. Yeah, it does cap you, I think. I do think it caps you.
Yeah.
Simon says, best place to source a VA?
Depends if you want to do it yourself or use a service, I suppose. Yeah. I've hired myself. Probably wouldn't recommend it if you just want like a couple of VAs or whatever. If you want an admin VA, probably best off doing it because I think services charge quite a lot for it and you probably don't need it. But yeah, I think Thomas Parkinson's got a really good service. I use it a lot. I think Sophie Dearden's got one, which I've only used it once. And it was okay for me, but I've heard others that have had some issues there. So I don't know, probably either Thomas Parkinson or Sophie Dearden, a resource worldwide, or hire yourself. Just ask around, I suppose, post in the group, see what other people think. That's what I always say. Same with Prep Centers, say with everything, get feedback from people who don't have sort of vested interest. I suppose I'm an affiliate for both, so don't listen to what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an affiliate for both, but I think they're both great people. I speak to both of them quite often. So Sophie and Thomas. So I'm sure they're both very caring towards their VAs they're training up. Omar says, so much value in this, guys. Oh, that's nice. Cheers. We just came on for a chilled chat, didn't we? We ended up having quite a busy one.
Always the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm going to get these comments through and then sort of wrap it up after that. So I don't know how long you want to do it for, but it is Sunday evening. Omar, do you just source in the UK? Sorry for throwing all the questions on Sunday evening. Lol.
Yeah, it's fine. I was only joking before, but mainly do some sourcing in Europe, and have done some other places. But I think especially when you VAT registered, you've got to be a bit careful, just because of different VAT laws in different countries. And like if you're buying something from a country that doesn't have VAT, or yeah, it just becomes a bit of a pain. So yeah, buy a fair bit in Europe, but then you've got to make sure you're getting the invoice and stuff in the correct format and these kind of things. So predominantly UK. And like if you mean sort of like, I don't know, China, for example, like yeah, no, I pretty traditional OA.
Do you mainly do zero VAT items or not?
Not mainly. We do a fair bit, and like my sourcing VAs have got like a sort of workflow to try and identify 0% items. That's obviously the hardest part. Is like, well, if they analyze something at 20% and 0%, then they could potentially miss out on it. So the sourcing team have a pretty decent idea of 0% items, and then my purchasing manager's got a better understanding, but still not perfect. But no, definitely not like majority 0%, but it makes up a decent amount, and they're nice when you find them.
Yeah. Sean says, I want to try the USA. Natalie
I bet I know why. Probably because he's seen Thomas Parkinson's video. I think he's just done one on it.
I'm thinking about trying used books. Did you see my interview with Seth?
Hey, this is what I come back to. Like for me, it's focus on one thing, and hey, if you've got OA stuff in place, then go for it. But it's funny you say that, 'cause I remember I went to the online arbitrage summit hosted by some Secret Wealth Project crew back in, I think it was April 2019, maybe. And Luke Pastor was doing a used book thing there, and I was like, oh, this sounds awesome. But then I had to just like keep myself in check and be like, no, stick to my guns. But hey, I'm not saying that's right, by the way. It's just what's worked out for me. So no, I saw you did something with Seth, and I think he's doing like 50k a month or something. So yeah, awesome.
90 last month, I think.
90, wow.
He did 10 or 11 or something thousand net profit.
Wow, there you go.
So it can't really be ignored, can it?
Yeah, go and jump into the used books if you want.
Yeah, I've been thinking about just prioritizing it for a tiny bit of time just to test it. But I don't know, because at the same time, it's not being silly, is it? But at the same time, it's not avoiding an opportunity that could be absolutely huge. So it's a tricky one. Paul, how do you say his surname? Cousin.
Paul Cousin.
Is that it? Yeah, Paul. That was
Cousins. I'm not sure. Cousins. Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't work that out. I don't know how I can't work that out. But it's Sunday, so we'll let her off. Paul says, "Two top guys. We okay, lads." Yeah. Cheers, Paul. Doing well. Natalie says, "Did you guys mean to match beards?" Oh yeah, we said that. Janet says, "I've got a happy medium. My teenage son does all the prep, 20p per unit, so nice weekly amount for a 16-year-old, and frees up my time."
Awesome.
We'll send a few items, Janet, if you want. 20p a unit.
Yeah, let us know if you're open for business.
That's got done. Sean says, "I want to be big enough to buy a warehouse and get staff and turn it into prep center, so I know staff will be paid, then do all the prep fee." Sean sounds like he's got it all sussed out with the prep in house.
Yeah, it's interesting he says that, because I do something somewhat similar with my sourcing VA. So this is a story I always say. So when I went to go and hire my VAs, there wasn't really any services out there. I think Kev Blackburn has one, but if I remember right, and I don't want to say this is factual because I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure he recommended paying the VAs like £3 or £4 an hour, which I was like, nah, it seemed a bit high. Like I started mine off at a base rate of 15,000 PHP per month, which is around like £1.50 an hour, I think. So I paid a lot less, and so I went with the mindset of hiring two sourcing VAs so I could sort of compare them, and also then if like one does something right and the other's doing something wrong, it's not really you, but if they're both doing something wrong, it's probably you that's doing bad explanations or whatever. So I went in wanting to hire two sourcing VAs. Ended up, long story short, hiring six. Had six for quite a while.
Wow!
And to help make it work, I basically came up with the idea of running sort of two deal sheets, just like invite only, which I still do to this day. And I basically charged like 125 quid a month and had like 5 people on each sheet. So that was like after the fees and stuff, like 1,200 quid a month. Which, if you look at 15,000 PHP, I'm just going to work out 1,000 times by 6, 90,000 to GBP was like 1,400. So I was near enough covering my VA salary back then just from this like invite only service. So yes, of course you're not getting all these deals to yourself, but for me, like a few people on the deals was worth it for me. So yeah, that's how I did it. And yeah, I just mentioned that because it sounds like Sean's sort of doing something similar with prepping away.
Nice. Natalie says most sellers tend to go self-prep, prep center, back to self-prep, back to self-prep, hit 7 figures plus, bring back in-house as the prep costs hit 5 figures plus. Same formula I see over and over again. However, doesn't take into account digital nomads that want to travel. Yeah. She said, sorry, back to prep center, lol. Yeah, I sort of got it backwards and forth. Yeah, I can see myself going into that sort of pattern eventually. You know what I mean? Maybe when I want to come back and settle down and actually like get a house properly, maybe a family, probably anytime soon. But then it may be more appealing. I just sort of don't want to restrict myself geographically at the moment, I don't think. Seth says, get involved, Hayden. Oh, Seth's watching. Did you see that? Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to get my focus too all over the place, but I'm thinking I could sort of outsource the purchasing, the sourcing of the books quite soon in the USA. That's what I'm thinking. That's why.
Yeah, I think that's what I was sort of thinking as well. Like if you could get someone else to sort of do it. I mean, I didn't watch the live with Seth. I'm not sure.
You can have it for £107 plus VAT if you want.
The live replay.
I'm going to take it down and charge for it.
Wasn't that valuable, was it?
It is actually so valuable, mate. I think you'll enjoy it. It might be a good.
It's interesting, and that's something I found. It's the whole everything's about perceived value, and a lot of this stuff I'm looking at, and it's interesting how you could, if you charge for something, you could get a lot more people to watch it or actually implement it as opposed to a free thing. And people don't like hearing that. It's true. And if there's people who like put sort of Udemy, for example, like was X amount now free, and they do that from the get-go, and it's like, well, then suddenly, oh, this was X amount, now it's free, and like, well, it's still free, but people are like, oh, this was worth this, so it's more valuable now. It's interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. It's funny on Udemy when I look at a course and it was like, I don't know, $19.99, then it's free for like a week. I instantly just ignore it because I think it's rubbish. I think it'll be rubbish. So I would rather pay money, even if it's like, it's really strange. It's just like psychology, isn't it? I don't know.
You get that buy-in as well. I think it's like once you put your money there, it's like then you commit to it, because people don't like. I think this is in a book, interesting book, even if you're not interested in sort of sales and that. It's just from a psychological point. I think it's Influence, Psychology of Persuasion. And one of the things is like people don't sort of internally, I'm not saying to the rest of the board admitting it's sort of like wrong. So if they go down the path of something and if they put their money there, they're likely to keep sort of committing to that, going with it. And yeah, so that's that psychological thing, I suppose. So yeah.
Simon Andrew says, I got my video call with Amazon US on Tuesday to get my US account set up. Simon,
Nice.
Boom.
Awesome.
That's interesting. Omar says £1.50 an hour for a VA. Where and how?
Just on online jobs. I don't know if you could still do it now. I just put up an ad, 15,000 PHP. Probably still. Let me have a look if that original ad was. I don't know if I have the same account. I can copy and paste it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just use onlinejobs.ph.
Nice. That's good to know. Good to know. Luke, I'm going to try and get out. I really am going to try and get out. So it's my birthday on the 16th, and it would be nice to be in the Canary Islands for it.
Well, they say you can still travel for business, can't you?
Travel business, and oh no, we're live. I can't say this live, can I? I can say it.
Business. It's still a business trip, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. You can come over for a business trip.
Yeah.
Meeting with Thomas and I and record a video.
That's a video. He said, I'll send you an email. I can't believe I'm saying this on live. He said, I'll send you an email and that we've got like a scheduled YouTube interview. Is that from a business trip? And then if I paid for the business, we could do that.
Well, this is like the thing, isn't it? Like for me, the YouTube videos I'm putting out, like it doesn't really matter if they, I want them to perform, but it makes my YouTube videos easy because I'm like, when I'm doing a road trip and stuff, it doesn't matter too much if it does well, because it's like, well, it helps me to expense stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I think we're going to wrap it up there because it's Sunday and it's been an hour and 10 minutes and that went really fast. Luke, thanks so much for coming on. I think it was really nice to have a chat. I hope you enjoyed it.
It was good. It's good. I appreciate you having me on.
No worries, mate. Just drop whatever you want to drop in the comments, like your Facebook group or whatever. And you've got you just released an ebook, haven't you? So, you want to talk about
that? Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I've put together over probably taken like 2 or 3 months to put this together. It's not like hugely detailed, but more just tried to go for quality over quantity, and it's really aimed at those who haven't started selling yet. So I was saying to Hayden before the live, like it's sort of I sort of look at it from like a 30,000 foot, like high level, looking down on the business, sort of going over the sort of I sort of say 6 key pillars to online arbitrage, and just a couple, 2-3 pages on each of those, and then a bit of stuff around that. And yeah, like you're not going to be able to use this and create an Amazon business purely from the guide, but it's really more of having, I think, the correct mindset around the business. And so basically I've taken like the hundreds of thousands I've spent over the past couple of years and the hours and hours and hours to try and sort of summarize my sort of learnings into this one guide. So that's the kind of route I've taken with it. I'll drop a link to it in the comments, but
so it doesn't cost anything, just a free guide, and just everyone
can, it's just a free guide. Like yeah, I mean, that's it's not going to probably not going to be hugely useful to people who are already selling, but it depends on how you look at it, because you could look at some of the sort of structure I've gone for there, and it's things I've talked about, like the outsourcing and automation. And as I've sort of put in the guide, like it's not going to be for everyone, but for me, this is just sort of what I've learned compressed. And yeah, you might read that and something might click with you, or you might not. There's only one way you're going to find out, I suppose.
Awesome. Yeah, drop your Facebook group there if you want, by the way. Guys, he's got a IGN entrepreneur, and he's got a cool Facebook group as well. So awesome.
I'm trying to type it on the fly. I should have I always consider doing like a rebrand, just because entrepreneur is such like a annoying word to spell.
I bet it's quite hard for the algorithm to find the entrepreneur. There must be so many entrepreneur groups, but I suppose.
I don't know.
I don't know what category it would come under, but you've got Amazon FBA and stuff in the title, haven't you? So
yeah, well, it's even for the. I've just done. I think I was saying to you, I've just done the first podcast episode as well, and that was meant to go live tomorrow at 6 a.m. But I have to put it live earlier, and even there, like it's. I think it's the iGeneration Entrepreneur. I put it as, and then I realized I went on, and I probably should have checked it before, but there's already a podcast called the iGen Entrepreneur, I think, but the guy only had like 4 episodes back in like April last year. So like, oh god, at least it's not like a big one that I'm going to be sort of like accidentally copying the name of. So yeah, it was one. I think the idea is twofold. It's like, one is it's more Gen Z is like the latest generation, and I know we're not born in that generation, but for me, I just like it's Gen Z or iGen, and I like the sort of iGen as sort of, for me, is like internet generation.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like kind of the idea that in the 21st century, it's like people have the opportunity there if they want it. I mean, obviously, I wasn't sort of alive so much back then, but people talk about how they couldn't go and sell things on scale because it was like all post and like in print and these kind of things, and it's completely revolutionized the way things are done. I mean, there's people making money streaming their online games they're playing. There's people on OnlyFans, like it or not. There's people on all these different things, and I just think now, for me, it's like if you really want it, you don't really have so much an excuse. I think that's the kind of idea behind that sort of iGeneration entrepreneurs, that the idea that anyone could be an entrepreneur, I suppose.
I find it so exciting as well. I think, like, obviously, you know Christos fellas, don't you?
Yeah.
Might be watching. I don't know. He's in this group. He makes a nice, it's nothing ridiculous, but he makes a nice lump out of YouTube each year.
Yeah.
Just not from the affiliates, even though he does have affiliates as well. Just from YouTube paying him for his videos, for the ads.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. I think that's
crazy, isn't it?
It's just he can literally he just gets paid for that. That to me,
you don't need to get a TV channel, do you? Like it's insane, the opportunity.
It's like the ads on the TV getting paid, isn't it? It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, how hard would it have been to you have to go into get a TV show approved and all this kind of stuff? Whereas now, if you've got an idea, you don't need to pitch it to anyone. You just go and put it on the internet and let the people with their the people decide if it's a good idea or not, or good concept or not.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's hard work. I was on
definitely.
I was on a video with him on Instagram literally 3 or 4 days ago, and he was just showing me him. He was just edit videos in the studio and stuff, and showing me all around. But once it's done, and it can just get thousands of views over the years, can't it? So it's cool, yeah. But
yeah.
Cheers, mate. That was cool. Great to speak.
Oh, awesome! Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and yeah, mate, I'm sure we'll catch up again in the future. And I might, obviously, I'll speak to your messenger and stuff, and I might try and, well, I might not try. I will definitely try and get over as soon as possible. Just got to go and have a word with Boris. Really?
Just do it, mate. Just do it. Like, if you can come over in business, then you can definitely justify it. So just make it happen if you want to do it. That's what I say.
Absolutely, yeah. Mate, I'll look into it. I'm going to go downstairs and get a coffee. Not a coffee because I'm going to get a lemon and tea with a little bit of extra lemon in it to make it more lemon. And then I'm going to go look at the holiday.
Nice. It's a pretty exciting way to finish off. I'm going to go and do some. What have I got noted? Facebook ads research.
Awesome, mate. See you soon. Good to meet you.
Awesome, mate. See you. Bye.
Bye.